Greetings, everyone. Hawksblood here. All right, today's going to be quite interesting. I hope you have the willpower to stay and listen for a while. Maybe not long, but as long as you can. Let's see how far that goes. Most people shy away from the truth, or think their truth's so important they don't need anybody else's. The title for today is a word I created. Unascended. You heard of ascension, ascending, and all those words, but I'm calling the word unascended. And simply it means you are here on planet Earth and you didn't ascend into any higher realm. All right. Now, the questions and the problems is ascension, ascending, all these other words people are using, and where it's going to take them, what it's going to get them. Now, I'm going to break it down into religions, UFOs and aliens, and everything else that goes along with healing and all those other words. People want to believe stories, and there's billions and billions of stories in everywhere, in every aspect of religion, spiritualism, quote, storytellers that come out with their supposedly truth. Even the people that wrote long time ago. And if you believe in the Anunnaki, Sumerians, and those kind of races, what were they really dealing with? What were their teachings, and what did they believe in? Now, I don't know where to start. There's just so many. It all fits together. All right. And hopefully you'll be able to understand that. I have a few problems with, since I was little, about putting things in order and trying to remember names and numbers and things like that. But I made it this far. I'm 67. So here's the thing. Let's start with religion. Most children are forced into a religion. Whether their parents are this or that, if they have two parents in two different religions, I guess the person in power usually leads the children to whatever they're going to be doing. All right. Then again, there's a lot of fights in families because of who's going to teach a child what religion they go to. And then some agree on bringing them to both. You can't work with two teachers at the same time. It doesn't work. It doesn't ever work. You can try it, and you'll be pulled into the place where you believe this and I believe that. Two parents usually don't have the same belief system, even if in the same religion, the same truth. Everybody claims they're entitled to truth. I got my truth. My truth means absolutely nothing. When you say my truth, everybody says my truth. What's it mean? Does it mean anything to the rest of the world? No. And then guess what? It's only meaningful to you. And how meaningful is that to you? What can you do with your truth? Can you prove there's a God or disprove there's a God? Can you prove aliens are real or disprove them? Can you do anything with your truth? Programmed probably by your parents and religion. Some a little bit by school and friends and things like that. But where's your truth? Where'd you get it from? Well, I had an experience. One experience doesn't give you much of anything. I don't care how long you think it was. I mean, when you leave your body, time's different. You can stay out of your body a long period of time. But you come back to this body, and the mind doesn't accept much. I had 5 death experiences. All right, some people have one and think they are a spiritualist, or they think this, that, or the other thing. And I could say names, which I might do later. I want to see how far I get with this. All right. In religion, it's handed down. And the only problem with that is man keeps changing his own story. Now, Moses had 10 commandments, and that wasn't enough for him. He had to go out and create 613. I guess what he got from God wasn't enough, so he had to create a whole bunch more. And please, read them. They're not what God suggested or told them or anything even close to that. So the concept of what Moses was teaching is stories, his own story. What you could eat, what you can wear, what not to wear, how not to dress, how to dress, and all those kind of things. Really? All right, let's base it now. In the 10 Commandments, it doesn't mention the word love. Love wasn't an active word up until a particular person came to this planet. Women were never considered love mates, or if you want to exaggerate that a little, they were slaves to their husband in all religions, all paths. The Native people let the elderly women make decisions and stuff, but they still had to do a lot of work, a lot more work than any woman average does today. All right. So we're talking about religion. Okay, in your religion, whatever that is, do you have a master, a teacher? Do you believe them? Why? Because the Bible says so? Because the Book of Mormon says so? The Emerald Tablet says so? The Sumerian tablets say so? The Urantia says so? Is that why you believe it? And then when the Galactic Confederation started about 70, somewhere in the 70s, it's a program, a mind program. If you rise to a certain level, you can be in tune with the Galactic Confederation, if that's what you want. There's millions of people that follow it now. And everything they say never happens. Never. And anything that's supposed to happen, they always change it to it happened at another level. All right. Now, I'm going to go into that because everything I'm going to tell you today fits together if you want to listen. If you want to run away, that's your choice. I'm not here to make you listen to the truth. I'm not here to beg you to listen to the truth. I'm just saying, if you want the real truth, I'm going to give it to you today and right now. All right. When people run away, it's because they're afraid to see anything beyond the box that they live in. They're happy with it. If you're happy with what you got, why do I need anything else? But happiness comes and goes, and it's not the most important thing in your life. But most people believe it is, and most people tell you it is. Oh, you have to be happy. Why? Does happiness save children? Does happiness cure children? Does happiness protect children? Or protect your ego? So, how far do we go with this? Let's take it deeper. All right, when a child's growing up, they got their parents telling them about religion, bringing them to a church, bringing them to a temple, bringing them to a workshop somewhere, whatever. Now, what does a child learn when they're little? Very little. What a child learns is usually by themselves until parents interfere with that. When a child sees the light, when a child sees an angel, when a child sees a deity or a demon, parents don't help them or can't help them because they're in a limited program world. They don't know nothing about it. Now, I'm just going to throw in the UFO world. They believe in aliens to the max. They believe in spaceships, aliens, good aliens, and a few bad aliens. There's always a few bad aliens. Really? All right. I don't want to go into that too much today. I mean, tune in on Tuesday when I do a show with Tina, and she's been abducted half of her life, and she probably knows more about it than any other person in this planet. I mean, the people that say they're abducted once or twice, she's been abducted constantly, implanted, and everything else along the way. She gets pretty sickly from but she's radioactive on and off, which is incredible. I don't want to get into that story. Tune in on Tuesday. But here's the thing. When we talk about aliens and good aliens, they went from being abducted, people being abducted. They don't like that word. It sounds bad. So they changed the word to who and what they are. And the word that they're using now is an experiencer. I'm telling you straight out, anybody out there claiming to be one, your experience is your experience. Prove it. Prove it to the world. Prove it to anybody. Oh, I met with aliens last night. They took me to another planet. They showed me the universe. So what? Is it going to help one person on this planet other than your ego? Well, if I tell them, what? You paid lots of money to go to a UFO conference, anywhere from, if it's a 3-day conference, 4-day conference, you're paying anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 to go there and spend a week with a bunch of people telling you stories. Whistleblowers. There's a lot of whistleblowers. I'm a whistleblower. If I had a whistle, I'd blow it. But here's the thing. A whistleblower comes out with the truth that doesn't fit into what everybody else knows. So is it real or isn't it? Even if it's real, is it important? A woman in China came out recently with the truth about how the virus was created. And it was created as a weapon to destroy the world. And it was only a test that they released. Imagine when they released the full version of it. They already said it. The virus already splintered 4 times already. I don't want to get into that. I'll give you the cure for that at the end of the show. But here's the thing. We got problems. We got black and white issues now. Why? Are the black more prejudiced, or white people more prejudiced against black people? Well, do you have the right to be prejudiced? No, you don't. Why not? Do you like certain foods? Do you like all foods? If I give you something, you can't say you don't like it? You have to like it? Really? So if you're brought up with a bunch of people that abuse you your whole life, are you supposed to like them? And then you have to say you like them or you agree with them. If you see certain things, do you have to accept it? No, you don't. Or you shouldn't. In this reality, you're being programmed every which way. How to think, how to walk, how to dress, how to talk, and everything else along the way. How to play computer games to kill and murder and do all those kind of things. You're not being taught anything important, anything spiritual. Now, I'll get into the word that I'm going to use in a little bit. But let's go into, okay, we're talking about religion and aliens. Do you think aliens, which are very unemotional, uncaring, can help us with anything important on this planet? Name one thing they can. Tesla, I consider him the most important brain that came to this planet in his own way, not in a good way, but it was the most important brain when you go into brain status, who created a bunch of dangerous weapons for this planet. And the bad ones are being used and the other ones are put in a museum. Does that make sense? Think about it. The United States took 50 of his technologies and used them as weapons, and then the rest they gave back to his country where they opened up a museum, Tesla Museum, and put them in it. All right. He worked with the alien race. I've been trying since I found out about Tesla what race he worked with. He actually said it. But the truth is, what's the result? He created an earthquake machine in 1900. He created quantum physics. All right, he created a lot of things, time travel, all these things that are abusing and changing our reality. In a good way? No. You can't change the past without affecting the future. And who gives you the right to change the past? Ego. So everything that's happening right now is a base of ego. Whistleblowers come out and say, oh, they worked here, they did this, and they... How come whistleblowers don't come out when it's most important, when it's really happening, and prove it? You mean to tell me they couldn't smuggle? Even, here's the thing. I don't know if you know what the New World Order is, the Skull and Bones are. Somebody smuggled a 30-second video of Mr. Bush and his father doing ceremony. I mean, Alex Jones, he exposed it. A lot of people dealt with and understood what was going on. They have all these billionaire people going to do ceremony, really, with a skull, with a girl on a table and all those kind of things. And it all started from one college. Do people care? You're president, just as Mr. Trump is our president right now. Are you listening to him? You only see what people tell you because you don't see it. I mean, do you see what he's really doing to the native people? No. Do you see what he's doing to the planet? No. Do you care? Oh, well, he wants to use coal. I mean, I'm not saying we have free energy that's useful, because that's another lie. Everything you hear is 90% a lie. All right? So we're talking about aliens. Now, how did they get here? Why did they come here? All these UFO people don't come out with any proof of that. And the only thing you hear is what they want to believe. They're here to help us. Oh, they work with me. They work with you. And what do you do, Mr. UFO friend? What do they help you do? I did a UFO conference, and one of the speakers that I was going against was talking about the Nordics. He goes, I work with the Nordics. I go, yeah, what did they do? I was in a car crash, and they pulled me out of the car. I said, what else did they do? He goes, lots of things. I said, like what? He couldn't name one other thing. So you work with these aliens, they pulled you out of a car, and that's all you know about them? I mean, I talked to somebody that worked with the tall whites in a better way, and I asked him, what do they like to eat? And he told me. And things like, people, do they understand what aliens like to eat, what they don't like to eat? Why they come here? No. The movie V, watch it. I think that's probably the closest to the truth without being exposed that much yet. And it could happen that way greatly soon. Aliens are not here for our benefit. They're not here to make us feel better. They're not here to make us grow, stand, live longer, any of those words. They're not to teach us anything about God. They're going to teach us about a programmed idea that they want to feed us. And it has nothing to do with high dimensions. Do not mean anything, people. To all you people in the UFO world, the high spiritual people, and all these people claiming sixth dimension, higher spiritual reality, and all those words are useless. They're imaginary ideas of an illusion of a person. High dimension still means you're in the physical reality. You don't go into a higher world until your body dies. I mean, you can experience the world, the astral plane. All right. It's not the seventh dimension, eighth dimension. It's a different realm, completely different than a level or like first, third, fourth, sixth dimension. Dimensions are all this dimension. No matter what number you give it, it's still part of this dimension. 3 dimension, fourth dimension, 5 dimension. I mean, we live in fourth dimension. Psychic abilities come out of the fourth dimension. Scientists don't prove that, can't prove that. They can't talk about it. People that deal with it can't prove it. No psychic on this planet ever proved how powerful they were in our lifetime. I knew all of them. I met with Kreskin. I met with, Uri Geller claimed a lot of things, and he was put down by a magician, and he can't prove anything. And the magician offered $1 million if anybody to prove him wrong. He said, I'll prove him wrong. Let him do anything, and I'll prove it's fake. So again, when a person claims they're spiritual and they're sixth-dimensional, what can they do? What makes them that? What makes them think they're better than anybody else? They got more powers. We can go into, I'm not going to go into it deep. Healers. Healers don't have superpowers. Oh, yes, they do. You go to a healer. By you going to a healer, you're saying, here's my body, here's my soul, do whatever you want with it, but heal me. And what do? Go in and use your energy and feed it back to you. They're not feeding you their energy. They cannot take your karma away from you. They'll tell you they did. You're all clear, you're clean. No, you're not. Oprah, one of the most richest people in the United States, claims she has no karma, has no ego. Why? Because of her 2 new teachers, Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle. Both don't understand a thing about God or death. Do you want to take your teachings from people that know nothing? Now, let's go to Hindus and those kind of words. Shamans. What do they know? They try to tell you things and show you and teach you about this world. There's not much you can learn about this world. You're a prisoner of the matrix, this reality. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever dimension you think you're in, you're still part of this matrix system. You're not getting into the astral plane because you want to. All right? You get in there, you get to stay there when you deserve to stay there. You visit it when you die. You get to hang out there for a little bit, a couple years, anywhere between 5 and 10 years, and then you reincarnate back, and you have to. It's not like the programmed idea people are feeding people. You get to choose when you come back and who are you going to come back with. No, you don't. You got karma. You're coming back to a reality that is pretty sad. I don't like to curse. I don't like to use hard words, but I might say if you were doing this talk, but you come back to this horrible world. Oh, this is beautiful. The trees are beautiful. What do we do to them? We make tables out of them, chairs and houses. What's beautiful? The ocean. We contaminate it to every level. Oh, the dolphins and the whales. Well, we slaughter and eat them. What do you say we're doing? Right. Anything? All right. So we talk about people. People's truth. You got your truth. What's it mean? What's it do for you? Can it help you tell you if you're going to die tomorrow? Do you care? Now, splitting this, we're going to go back to the psychics when they claim to heal you. You're all healed. Your mind tells your body what it wants it to do. Your mind could heal the body. Your mind could do anything with the body. All right? Rejuvenate things and stuff like that. I can go in. I did it myself. But so what? You're here in hell. Oh, this isn't hell. You think it gets worse? You think when you leave this body, all right, and go into your soul body, not 6th dimension, your soul body, it's going to hurt. It's going to be bad. You can get lightning bolts and burn you up. Or no, you can't touch it. It's light energy. Try stabbing the light. Try burning it. Take a laser. You can burn through anything. So imagine that. And you don't become the pure light when you die, obviously. You're not even programmed to get close to it. So when we talk about what we become when we die, do people even talk about it? They don't even know. They have no clue. I listen to as many people, lectures, talks, workshops every day. And I hate it. But I got to keep on top of what's being pushed and shoved on all these people that people are accepting. Trump's a good man. Trump's son is an animal killer, and he supports that. Really? He wants to go back to burning coal. He wants to destroy the planet. Allow fracking. Allow them to fracture in Alaska. Allow them to do these things. Really? Do you put attention on what people are? And when they say they're a healer, what makes them a healer? Because they win people over. You just need two people to say you're great. And those two people have to tell anybody else. And then they, well, he's great. And they believe that right away. There's a guy, I'm not going to say his name, just stands up. People go to see him and they go out, oh, I was healed. I was this. You know, a mind plays many games on you. A healing is temporary. Any physical healing is temporary. For the fact that you're going to die in 125 years, no matter what you think or do. But then again, a healing from, say you had a serious operation and you can't move your arm, and you get a healing. All right. How long do you think it's going to last? Well, I had a cancer, but now I got the flu and I'm going to die. I have the virus, I'm going to die. Healing is a temporary thing for a temporary cure of a specific thing, usually, but not permanent. Again, you're going to die. And cancer moves anywhere in the body. The same as karma. It could affect any part of your body. Even if you have a healthy body or you think it's healthy and you come down with dementia. Imagine losing the reality of who you are. That must be the most horrible thing. And you don't even know it. Because you don't even know that. But the people around you get to see it. Well, his truth didn't really help him. The same as Native people's truth. Muslims' truth. Everybody has their truth. But the only problem with that, it doesn't help people. It doesn't help people move forward. We have moved backwards within the past 25 years than I think we have ever been. In the past 100 or even more. In the cowboy days, and when gun rights, we had a gun because we were fighting, killing each other. Or a bow and arrow, whatever it is. We had a weapon because we had to kill whoever was attacking us or defending us. But now we all should have a gun to protect ourselves from government, from people, from strangers. I mean, you go out in front of your house with a gun and they point it at somebody, you get arrested. So the scenario is so bogged down with false truth, and people accept that. So are you ready to listen to the truth and move forward? Ascending means letting go of the body, this body, to go into your soul body, which is inside and leaves. All right, and it goes to the astral plane. That's what ascending means. Not ascension. Ascending. All right. When you say non means not. Is anybody really ascending to anywhere? Not if you're coming back. You're not ascending. It's a temporary thing. And I'm using the word temporary because it's not real. Because if you go to the astral plane and spend 10 years there and come back, you're still here. You didn't ascend anywhere. You experienced it, but you're not an ascending because you're coming back to hell. Oh, well, this is so beautiful. Imagine a world, 90% of the planet is homeless, starving, abused, minimum underwage paid, sick, and everything else. Don't even know where the next meal is coming from. 90%. 6% might be middle class, barely surviving. And then you got the rich, who don't care about any other class other than the rich. Please, if they did, they wouldn't be billionaires. How could you be a billionaire, even a multimillionaire, and let one child starve on your dime in your neighborhood? Because you're ignorant. And like Jesus said many times in the Bible, you don't have to believe in the Bible, but what he said was true. It's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. I say that to every rich person I meet, because they're right in the smack in the middle of that. How can you be a trillionaire while children are starving? You can't donate a few more dollars? Well, I donated $1 million last year. $1 million out of $1 trillion? What percentage is that? And now with governments that our government allows them to pay less taxes than a middle class person? Let's get real here. You're a slave to an economy and a society that's so brain dead and controlling what you eat, what you're allowed to eat, what you smoke, what you're allowed to smoke, what medicines you're allowed to take and what ones you can't take. Does that make sense? You should be allowed to do whatever you want with your body. It's your body, not theirs. So let's go from religion to aliens. Okay, we went from that. Let's go further. Let's go into parents. Parents have no truth to begin with. Oh, my father was a Christian. My father was a Muslim. And what do they know about God? Nothing. And how I know? I studied religions all the time when I was young. And I had experiences in what I wanted to see to find out what they knew, what they don't know about God and death. And they know nothing. To believe you can die as a man, if a woman doesn't touch you, and go to heaven and meet virgins and have sex for the whole week. I guess their God's a sex god, wouldn't you think? All right. They're allowed to beat their women. How much do they respect women? All right. That's one religion. I mean, Tibetan people, they're different. But children, 5, 6 years old, have to be cooking for their family already. They have to have 2 wives, 2 husbands when they're 12. Multi-families changes morals. Now they're passing a bill. 10-year-olds are able to get married. I mean, do you think that sounds like a good idea? God's idea or man's idea? So when we talk about parents and what they condition you with, I'm going to let them try all the religions. If you don't understand a religion, taking a child to a religion is not going to help them, because when they have questions, you can't answer them. You want to talk about any religion? The benefits and disabilities, what it does to a body, a person? The false gods that they all pray to? The angels they supposedly work with? And people can't even get that right. What's Satan? And the difference between Lucifer. One religion respects Lucifer as the angel of light, which he is. And then they say Satan was his child. No, it wasn't. But when you go into the Hindu religion, when you talk about Shiva and then you got Ganesh, the sun, we gave birth to an elephant. How did that happen? And why? Morals are lost. I think they have always been lost. And mind, ego is taking over. The perversion of the mind. The sickness that's growing within. I mean, you can do whatever you want to yourself. But don't bring it to the world. Don't hurt the rest of the world because you're ignorant. Or you're a fool. Or you're just lazy to try to learn. Or you don't want to learn. You want to live in a bubble, in a box. That's your choice. Don't try to put other people in that box. Souls need freedom, and not the freedom that we supposedly don't have. Well, we're supposed to have, but we don't have any of it. Freedom? Can you go drive down the road at 100 miles an hour because you feel like it? Can you try killing yourself and not go into the nut house or go to the hospital? I mean, you have the right to do what you want with the body. If you don't like it here, don't you have the right to leave? No, you have to stay here. I'm going to make sure you do. Why? Isn't it getting overpopulated little by little and things like that? People have a twisted idea of life, twisted idea of love, twisted idea of relationship. And you think we're moving forward. Let's bring aliens down, and they're going to help us figure that out. Really? There's a TV show on TV. A woman had 12 children. Triple, double, whatever it was to equal 12. So, don't you think she should have stopped somewhere in between that and really thought about what she's doing? I mean, it must be nice to have your own farm, be able to run a whole farm with your own children, run an army with your own children. But how about how much love they each can get? You got 2 dogs, 3 dogs. How much love can you give to all of them? My one dog gets so much love. If I had another dog, I couldn't give my dog the love I give him now. We don't respect things enough to care about them, enough to make it work. In relationships, anywhere from 60 to 70% break up within 10 years even. Some after 20. You think in 20 years you could have figured it out a little better. At least to work harder to make it work, to make it to form a reality that you can survive with and work with and grow within that. We don't grow together, we grow apart, sadly to say. And with sex being the number one important thing on this planet for men, no matter how you look at it, it's number 1. Number 2 is money. And when they get money, they have more sex. At least that's what they think. All right. The problem is we talk about things that most people have no concept about. Ascending. To where? What are you going to do when you ascend there? Do you have a clue? Do you know? And the programmed, retarded, sorry, wrong word. What word can I use? Twisted, sick. We're going to meet our family and sit in heaven. Sorry. Sit in heaven and with our family. And do what? Talk. Talk about what? How they beat each other up, how they abuse each other, how they didn't do this, how they did that. How long would you want to do that? Forever? Is that what you think heaven's about? Most people do. Why? Because they were programmed to believe that. Now, let's bring in the word psychics, psychic channelers, and people that work with ghosts and spirits. There's about, I'd say, 20 shows on weekly now. If you haven't noticed, most spirits and ghosts are dangerous now. Not in the old days where poltergeist, they moved an object, it fell, threw something across the room. No, people are getting hurt. Houses are burning down and things like that. It's getting serious. And I'm not going to go into the whole details about that and why. I will one day, maybe in a show just for that. But here's the thing. More spirits, entities, demons are out free on this planet now because of the Montauk Project and the Philadelphia experiment. Very few people can piece it together and understand the true meaning of what that all means. Including the people, there's only like 3 people that wrote books on it that have very little clue because they're not spiritual enough to understand the inner workings of what's going on. Time travel is the most dangerous thing Tesla created, all right? And it destroyed the planet already. And it's unfolding daily. Because when you go back in time, destroy one thing, you change the history of the world. And then when you go back to change it and screw up again, you make it 10 times worse than you did the first time. There's a couple movies on that. Watch them. Just to think in your mind what could happen by one thing. They went back in time and they dropped a laser on the ground and they had to go back and get it. I mean, little things. One little thing could change the reality of the distant past. And obviously it's going to change the future. And now, for people that don't know and think aliens are good and this and that and the other thing, the Pleiadians, I'm not going to say Billy Myers' alien friends, but the Pleiadians themselves are here. One reason, to make sure, or to try to make sure we don't destroy the planet. If you destroy the present, there is no future. You destroy the past, there is no reality. So when we play this game, imagine taking some futuristic bomb back into caveman days and blow it up. Guess what? You altered history every which way you possibly could. So people don't understand that, and we're still playing with it. And we got all these whistleblowers, UFO people claiming they went to Mars and they brought the president up there and all these things. And so what? What does it mean? Trump said he wants to be president when we go to Mars because he should know that we already went there. So you know how dumb is a person? A supposed person running the country, affecting the world, has no clue. Sit him down. I said this. He constantly attacks Biden for being dumb and said he should take an IQ test. Let's sit both of them down on TV and give them the test in front of the world. Do you think either one will pass it? I doubt it. I'll bet you neither one can. So when they talk about who's dumb and who's this, they're both old people. They don't know nothing. They outlived their time frame. I'm getting old. I can't help the world in the future. It's too contaminated. And man doesn't want to listen. I mean, poor Jesus, when he came, they slaughtered him because he was telling the truth. He didn't come here to create a religion. He didn't claim to be God. And even that was abused to the max. How sad. Somebody had the most important teaching to bring out to the world. Nobody listened. Even Thomas, one of his important followers with Mary Magdalene, both left the United States. They left where they were. Sorry, not the United States. They left their country. Thomas went to India and brought Jesus' teachings to India. You know, in those days, it wasn't like you had a driver's license, social security number, and all that. You looked like somebody, you were somebody. You could just say you were that. How could they prove any different? They couldn't. So they always said Jesus was everywhere. No, he wasn't. But he did have followers that went places, and they all looked similar. They all dressed the same, spoke the same words. So even that was twisted, and the native, not the native people, the religious people in Christianity don't want to accept the truth. And I could go into that. My book's on the cover of this show, the True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization, has nothing to do with what's in the Bible. Nothing to do with what's in the Bible, people. Sorry. If you think it's a religious book, it is not. It's a book of truth. So let's get back to, okay, we have this religion. Does it help mankind? What religion helps man move forward spiritually? I pray to God. I pray to Jesus. I pray. And what? What do you do to make life better for people? You work as a bartender. What do you do for a living? A butcher, work in a slaughterhouse. What do you do? What do you do? Paint houses. I mean, what do you do to make the world better? All right. I do artwork. And some artwork's pretty bizarre, but what makes the world better? Music, and I hate to say it. I mean, I don't hate to say it. I have to say this. Music touches you at a different level. Now, when you hear it, you have to tune into it. And that's a teacher that I studied with, a Tibetan teacher that I studied with taught me it. When you hear music, it's like a wave of energy, the same as the light coming down into this world. You ride that wave into where it's coming from, and you'll get an understanding and experience from that alone. What the person's really singing. You could translate things. I know I was in school. I don't know what grade, 7th grade. And we were getting poetry, which I hate. We were doing a Beatles song. And he says, well, what do you think this means? And I said, oh, that's not what it means. How can somebody else tell me what it means when they don't know what the person really meant when he wrote it? Because of a programmed idea of a certain word has to mean a certain thing. The same as all these forms they want you to fill out for presidency, vice presidency, and give you ideas and say yes or no. They put you in this block where you answer certain questions the way they want you to. They don't let you put in something on each one of them, what you feel, what you think about it. You either say yes or no. I agree with it or I don't. No, I don't agree with that because and why and all the other things. They don't want your truth. They don't care about it. They just need a number to say, see, look, we got 700 people here. We got 7,000. We got 250,000 people here. Just like American Idol. You believe it? I watched it and I was so depressed after I saw the ending. He was a great poet. If you like to hear a sad person's life, all right, he tells his life story in a poem. He won, all right, means he gets to be in Atlantic City, Vegas, doing his own show, and he's going to tell his sad story. Do I want to pay to hear a sad story? Hopefully not. I got enough of them my own. But the talented people, the incredible, super talented people that are for show, all right, will all turn down because this guy. I mean, sure, he's happy as a pig in what, you know what? Because he's got $1 million, he's doing a show, and he's preaching his story. But what's that do for you and me, really? Oh, it entertained me because he said it like it is. He's a black person talking about black people. Sure, black people want to hear that. How bad it is, how bad it was, or whatever. How he touched on spirit and stuff. But it's all a story. All right? His story. Write a book. Put it out there. But when we say talent, to write, to speak, I mean, if I go on a stage and stare, I'm teaching something. I'm an experienced person with staring. I should get paid. I should become a millionaire and do a show in Vegas, like the one person out there goes around the world just staring at people. You know, we are in dealing with a sickness. The things we like, the things we watch, the things we do. I mean, if you're not hurting anybody, I don't care. When you hurt other people, I do care. The only reason why I do this, I'm not doing this to make money. I pay to do the show. Am I asking you for money? No. And I'm not a millionaire. If I had $1 million, $1 billion, you know what I would be doing? I'd have a school and a spiritual school. There is no spiritual schools in the United States. I wonder why. Because nobody's spiritual enough to run one. Nobody knows what the word means. Oh, I do. It means... Well, I can't answer that, but I know what it means. Really? Ask these people you know and think that claim to be spiritual. What's spiritual mean? Well, I'm a six-dimensional being. And what's that mean? You fly around in the air. You could raise cars and bring them up with you. What can you do as a six-dimensional being? Can you walk through the wall right now? What can you do as a six-dimensional being if you're supposedly a six-dimensional being? Well, I close my eyes and I'm everywhere in the universe. Whose universe? Yours. Whose aliens are you talking to? Yours. What dimensions are you looking at? Yours. Nothing has been created in Facebook. What's going on here? I don't know what came up. It said something about not going live. But, all right. I suggest you send this link to everybody you know when it's over. Tell them if they have any questions, any objects, any truth, bad, good, and different. Call me. I'll text me, Hawksblood1, AOL.com. I will bring them on the show. You want to debate me? You want to talk about your truth? You got the balls to do that? Very few people do. I challenge just about every spiritual speaker out there. Not one of them is willing to debate me. I brought Laura Eisenhower on a show that I did, and it turned out to be a good show. But she didn't go into her stuff. She agreed with me and said I could come on her show. But the truth is what a person really is, what they're going to hide and say to make things work. I don't cover who I am. As a matter of fact, that show that I was doing with Laura Eisenhower, and I did with the spokesperson for Billy Myers, Tom Horn, was the last show I did. Because all of a sudden he goes, well, you can't tell them. Just interview them. I said, no, I don't deal with lies. I don't put up with lies, and I confront it straight out. And I said, I can't do shows for you because you said I could do that, and now you're not going to let me do it. Look, I only deal with truth, and truth that I live by and will die by, and I put all my truth in God, period. I don't care what anybody else says. I'll die within that. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm going to do. Six-dimensional being? No, that's useless. Why stay in this reality? In the other side, the other multiple dimension, this side. No, why would you want to stay there? It's like good and bad in planet Earth. They're both contradictory to each other. What's good to you is not good to me. What's bad to me is good for you. You know, we have this twisted way of thinking. And now that we're trying to bring aliens into it, really? What do you think you're going to get? How far down the road? All right, let's go a little bit deeper than that. Let's take every shaman, medicine person, spiritualist, Buddha, Lama, all those names. What do they know about truth? Do you think they know anything? They know their truth, and they created a religion from it. Buddha created his religion. Gandhi created a path. He wasn't trying to create a religion. But Milarepa and people going back in the older times and different people that created teachings. It was their teaching based on their inner or outer awareness. How far, how deep was that? Okay, when I said the word ascension, very few souls will ever go through that. Ever! Not like everybody can. And I'm trying to do a show this person wants to come on with, but she believes in that. I said, I don't. You can't go through ascension unless you're a spiritual giant. And I don't see any people on this planet that are that. So ascending, which everybody does, non-ascending is for people, like most of the people out there, that will not ascend. They will not go to the astral plane and stay there. They'll get to see it and explore it, but they'll be forced to come back here. Because they're not ready to give up this. They like the fruit. They like the sex. They like the games. They like everything that's here. Or they feel happy. Happy? How long does happiness last in any moment? An hour, a minute, a day, a week? Well, I'm happy all year round. Are you? Your child gets hit by a car. You still happy? Your car blows up. Your house burns down. You still happy? Yeah, I'm so happy. My house just burned down. Really? Is that what you think? Like I said, people are twisted in their thinking, twisted in their awareness because they don't have any. Sorry, people. Let's talk about things beyond this reality. You're coming close to death. Who do you go to? Who do you talk to? Who can comfort you? Let's take what kind of sickness? Something where your heart's slowing down and it's going to stop within a day. So you got like 10, 12 hours of life. What are you thinking during that time frame? Oh, I'm going to miss my family. I'm going to miss my cat. I'm going to miss my house, my yacht, I used to go to Hawaii every week, and whatever the story is, you're going to miss all that, right? What are you going to like? I don't know. I'm losing my body. I'm going to have to come back to it. It's a sad program. So, if you ever experience it, I mean, people do, but they don't even understand their experience, because when you come back into the body, mind has to be separated from soul. And that takes multiple lifetimes, but hopefully you can do it in this lifetime when you're aware of what you have to do. And when you do that, you realize the separation between those words. Lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment are the words that keep people here. I break them down into drinking, drugs, smoking, sex, cheap thrills, and love, sorry. And you're attached to all those words. Do they help you understand God? Where's one of those words fit with God? None of them do. The concept of God is so twisted, torn apart, ridiculous, and untrue. Every religion that talks about a God have no clue what they're talking about. Moses came out and said God was a burning bush. Really? I got a picture of a burning bush I shot. Do you believe I talk to God now? I'll put it up if you want, anytime. It was going to be the cover of my book, but I decided not to. But what is the truth? Truth is most people, 7.3.999% of the people have no clue. That's a lot of people that don't know anything. They have their stories. People love to live by stories. The native stories are fantasy. The Hindu stories are fantasies. So where do you get your truth from? Aliens? And their story is not going to be anything you want to hear, but they got to feed you a false story. They're going to come down and tell you what they really want from us. Everything has an agenda, people. Oh, good and bad. No, agenda. You're white, you have an agenda. You're black, you have an agenda. You're yellow, you have an agenda of your race, of your country. What makes you think an alien from another planet won't have the agenda of his planet? They wouldn't give him a ship and send him here if they didn't believe he did. I'm sure some people go AWOL when they get here and don't live long, or they take zapped out by their own army, country, whatever, alien race, because they have their own agenda that they have to stay on. Because they know we could have a war with them easy. We had a couple major wars in space already. Is Trump going to tell you that? No, not for a while. If he comes in for another 4 years, he probably might. Probably, maybe, who knows? He already said he's created a space army, but guess why he did? I don't want to go too far off the track, because Putin told him to. Putin said, tell the world what we're doing with aliens. Tell the world what happened at 9/11. Putin himself said they're working with 37 races. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. Keep that in your mind. Whether you accept it or not, it was on Russian TV live. My friend was translating it as he was speaking, as he spoke, however you want to word it. So he's not hiding anything. He wants global warming. He wants a farm 9-10 months a year. He doesn't want cold winters anymore. He cares about his country. He cares about his people, which a country should do. But there's a lot of other people in his country, the same as there's a lot of other people in our country. Muslims coming in, trying to create Muslim religion in the United States. Do you know how that'll affect the planet if they win? Well, some guys might like the idea they could beat their wives and do all kinds of things as well. Kill them if they don't like what they're doing. Stone them, whatever. Do you want to go that far? Are you willing to accept other people's truth? Now, where does the truth step in? Well, I feel in my heart that it's true. Your heart's a physical entity within this reality. Soul has its own awareness. Soul doesn't rely on your heart or your brain. See, when you learn to separate mind here in this brain from soul that works within this body, they're two separate entities. Look at the brain as a computer chip in a giant computer. And soul's trying to deal with running it, even though it doesn't need to, and it doesn't want to. It wants to escape this. This is the first place soul has to go to start learning what it is. But see what happens? It gets too attached to what it thinks it is because of the programming. To some sick, twisted person's idea of what truth is. We have alien races coming here. All right. And what do they want? They want food. They don't want our belief system. They don't want our religions. No, not at all. Do they want our truth? What can we teach them? Tesla was taught everything he knows, and he actually gave us the breakthrough of everything we know now. So did they need that? No, they had it thousands of years ago. Now, here's a serious problem for all you UFO people. If any of that's true, and they've been here for hundreds of thousands of years and all that, why are we such a sick race right now? Why do we believe the Anunnaki did things to make us better? In what way? What did man do to show that he's better than he was 1,000 years ago? 2,000 years ago? When they slaughtered Jesus, what makes them think people are better now? They killed a lot of spiritual people along the way. I did 2 years research on that for a while and found out 80% of spiritual people were killed. Some of them were poisoned and almost died. I think 2 that I know directly had some kind of physical problem and died in the 80s. But even that, 80 years old. You like it here? Why not? And you're going to be a teacher? Well, you're going to have to stay to teach. I'm only giving truth out. I'm not going to stay here as a teacher because people don't listen anyway. The most spiritual person, sorry, and I have to say it, was Jesus. I was aware of my past life when he was alive. I was there. I saw it. I heard what he said, what he preached. He wasn't a preacher, really. He was a teacher. And he didn't preach he was God, ever. So how's it bastardized into what it is now? A sick person's twisted idea. Why was Mary Magdalene the outcast for the longest period of time? She was only given credit, I don't even know how many years, 20 years ago, when they said she wasn't the sleazy whore that they made her out to be. They took 4 different stories of 4 different women and made Mary Magdalene, that's the story of her. The truth is, and this is beyond anybody else's truth or not, Mary Magdalene was a rich goddess in the temple. She wasn't a poor beggar sliming across the ground or nothing like that. Jesus stayed with her the last month because he had a child with her. That's how the disciples actually learned what love was, how he was with her. He wasn't alive to see his. He was killed before he got to see the child born. But again, they got to see what love was. You can't teach love by not showing it. And by seeing it, you could understand it a little better than trying to talk about it. You can't write a book on love and expect the person to know what love is. Because everybody's feelings are different. The way people feel about each other is different. Very few people in love even have come close to the way they love the other person loves them. They think they do, but they wouldn't be separated in 10 years, 5 years, 2 years if they were even in tune a little bit with that. They wouldn't be breaking up. So I listen to these speakers on religion, on love, on relationships, on jobs. It's all useless. It's only part of the matrix. It's not going to help you understand the spiritual worlds. Every experience you have here is for here. When you leave your body and have an experience, it's for there, meaning the astral plane. If you're lucky, if you're aware enough being, you get to go beyond the astral plane. But there's a lot of tricks and things you have to do before that can happen. So when the person says, well, I'm just going to go to the mental plane, the soul plane, blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't happen that way. It's not because you want to. A lot of people want to be God. And a lot of people think they're God, say they're God. There's some people on the planet right now that believe they're God. All right. Some of them have retreat centers. I mean, it's just like the other ones that became cults and stuff. Well, God doesn't come down to this low-level planet. Why would it? If you were a spiritual person of all this great love and light, would you want to come into a world of the disease, sickness, abuse that we create on this planet? The destruction we do daily? How can you call this heaven? Or say it's what heaven is supposed to be or is? It's not. You're a delusional person living in a delusionary world if you believe that. Nothing man does is beneficial to the planet. And even the new idea of free energy, it's not going to help the planet. Not in the way it needs to be. Seriously, check out a movie, Michael Murphy, I think that's the right name, put out a movie, The Planet Earth, something like that. Watch it. It explains what New Age free energy is doing to the planet. You make one thing and replace another, but it has to be working off of what it's on, planet Earth. So, check it out. I mean, if you care about the planet, I'm not talking about the planet right now, but if you care about it, you should watch it. It starts off a little bit slow. You need to watch the whole thing. Don't say, oh, this is boring, or this is that. No, watch the whole thing. See where we're going with our free energy. I mean, Trump's not all right, but he's not all wrong. His way is not better. It's definitely not better. But you can't move forward unless you respect all things. And nobody does. Anybody that makes money doesn't respect all life. Anybody. Because when you have money, you can change things. And if you don't, whose fault? God? You don't believe in God, I'm sure, because you wouldn't be hoarding your money for no reason, and you're going to die. Well, just to show you, one person gave the Democrats $100 million for the campaign. So he thinks getting Trump out is an important thing. But how about what that could have done to the United States alone? That kind of money. How many retreats or places for children to go and abuse women and all those kind of things that could help the planet greatly, rather than support somebody that might lose the election. If he doesn't win, that money was wasted. When you could actually put it in a place where it'd be used wisely. But you got to be aware of that. Oprah opened a school in Africa, and it turns out that almost all the girls there were raped. Who is responsible? Well, she kind of is. Because you don't see it or participate in it. If you created it, it's part of your creation. But she has no karma. And she has no ego, so it wasn't her fault. Now, when the book on The Secret came out, The Secret is the answer. How many people attain what The Secret says it was going to give you if you follow The Secret? A few people, maybe? Maybe? What did they do in the interim? I'll tell you what they did. People abuse native teachings, even that they're the most spiritual on the planet. How did they abuse the native teachings? Well, they created a sweat lodge. All right, I said I'd throw this in. The cure for the virus is going in a sweat lodge. Seriously. The temperature has to be over 115 degrees, which they usually are. And you have to stay in there for at least 15 minutes, and you have to inhale real deep. You can't do shallow breathing because you need to get the hot air inside the lungs where it'll burn up the virus. Why aren't they releasing this? Because they don't want the world to come to an end. I mean, they don't want to end this problem. I mean, it's released that China created the virus to the point where they're going to try to destroy part of the planet or most of it. But all these people making money have to keep it going. All the people that are making money off of this, it's sad. Steam will kill it. You can go into a steam room, but you have to make sure the temperature's high enough. Because I don't know if the hotels keep it that high or certain places keep it that high because it can make a person pass out. But again, it'll kill the virus. And then have a super hot cup of tea afterwards, and you'll flush it out of your body, whatever's inside this part of your body before it gets into the lungs. Don't listen to me. That's your choice. I know if I came down with it tomorrow, I'd be in my sweat lodge just sitting there. I'm not going to be going to the hospital. A lot of people are going to have a respirator. Is not saving them. Look at this home in Hawaii. Everybody in it's dying. And they're dying every single day. And nobody's doing anything about it, and it's still happening. One person died there yesterday. I didn't even check for today. The number's high. It's a way to get rid of the old people. Well, we don't need them. Get rid of them. And they're all vets, which is even worse. In a way, it's worse. They did their whole life trying to protect the country. Now they're getting abused, and then they get allowed to die. That makes no sense at all. So, when you talk about being spiritual people, you want to come on a show, I'm going to be doing a workshop on it in detail, what it means, what you have to do, the things you got to do to become that. You're not going to become spiritual because you want a UFO. You're not going to become spiritual because you took a trip with an alien. You're not going to become spiritual because you met Satan and traveled with him. I mean, there's cults with that power of Satan, Satanism and all that. So what do you think is the truth? Power is not the answer. Psychic abilities are not the answer. I went through that when I was young. I learned the hard way. I'm not going to go into the details, but I learned the hard way. Somebody's in the chat room, they just wrote about their wife. My partner is pretty, I don't like to air my partner because she has her problems and doesn't like her problems out to the world. But, when you deal with people, it's hard. No matter how close you are, it's hard. But as a person, as a spiritual person, you need to work with that. Not run from it, not hide from it, not to just get rid of it. And for you people that are going to heaven and meet with your angels up there, all right, and then you meet your family. Which family you want to be with? Well, most Christians don't believe in reincarnation, so they're not going to want to be with any other family from any other lifetime. That's for sure. And then they don't believe a lot of things, so they'll be sitting at a table with their family. And that's all they know. I spent my life here with people. I don't want to spend my eternal life with the same people. Just think, you wouldn't have to dream. You wouldn't have to have any other experiences if you were happy with one experience. But that experience isn't teaching you about what soul has to do as it moves into a higher level of awareness and vibration. The vibration changes. You can't live in a coarse vibration if you're high vibration. And we're not really high vibrations while we're still on this planet. So when you get into the astral plane, your vibration's already higher. If it stays that way, you get to stay there. If it doesn't, you come back here. It's simple. So I'm telling you, please, you have questions, answers, whatever, hawksblood1AOL.com. I answer them. If I feel it's important or real or anything out there, I'll bring you on a show. We'll do a show together if that's what you want. Or Skype me and we'll talk online. I don't like typing as much as I do talking on Skype or something because I have a problem with typing anyway. So, the truth is out there. You want to listen to these people. Follow Deepak Chopra. Follow Eckhart Tolle. Follow Gala, whatever it is. All those people that speak and lecture. Listen to what they say. They don't talk about God. They don't want to talk about a real God if they do. They don't want to talk about soul, what it really is. They want you to be programmed to say, well, six-dimensional beings are better. Better for what? 7.4 billion people, and we're in the worst condition we have ever been. So who's moving forward? Who's taking the world forward? Now, back to the word reincarnation. Soul usually has to reincarnate. All right. Reincarnation means you have karma to come back to fix. If you clean your karma out in a lifetime, well, somebody just says how many gods are there, a joke, but there's only one God. I call the deities and angels what they are, deities. They're little gods. They're appointed beings on a different realm that have to be responsible for what goes through that realm. Just as Lucifer is with Jehovah. They're on the top of the astral plane. They make sure no souls go beyond that realm that don't deserve to. And you can't lie to them when you get there. Oh, I'm a spiritual person. Really? Soul in this body radiates an aura. Aura reading is very important if you want to know what a person is that you're meeting or seeing. Unluckily, most people don't radiate a beautiful color with their aura around their body. Very few souls do. In my whole life, I met two that radiated really far from their body. I'm talking like 50 feet, 60 feet of pure light radiating from their body. Most people have maybe an inch of light around their body. If it's a pure light, and very few people have that, they have red, orange, which is actually negative energy, anger, and things like that. But then when you talk about blackish gray, it's because they smoke and drink. And they got a lot of holes in that aura, and you can see them. So there's little things that you want to find out what a person is. Tell them to look in the mirror. Tell them if they can see their aura. Everybody's going to say, my aura is beautiful. Really? If I look at it, you can't lie to somebody else about your aura. You cannot. It's one way to determine what level a person is at. I'm not going to go into that, but I could. I mean, if somebody had a calling camera and they were saying, oh, I could take your aura and I'll show you it's not what you think it is. And I said, I'll bet you it's better than what you say it is. He goes, I'll give you a free picture if it's better than what I thought it is. He ended up giving me the picture. He said, you got a perfect aura. All right. I met another person that was working with that as well. And she was blown away when she took that was of my hand. And this person took a picture of my whole body. And she says, you're incredible. The pure light just pouring down into your head and then through your body. She goes, you got something going on. I said, yeah, I got a heart problem. And okay, she said, okay. She wanted to take me on tour with her. So, you know, what people say and think is really not close to the truth ever. And then when a person says they got their own truth, what's it do for anybody else? Can it help people? My truth can help a lot of people if they listen and try to work with it. I'm not going to give you easy techniques. I mean, they might sound easy, but the mind doesn't give up what it's programmed for. It takes 30 days, I say, to reprogram the subconscious mind to allow it to accept something different. And you can't miss one day. That one day you miss, you'll go right back to the beginning. And you'll have to start all over. But see, that's too hard for people. Most people, when I give them a technique to work with, will do it for 4 days, usually. Oh, I had to go to the store and I had to do this and I couldn't do it. People always have an excuse for what they don't want to do. It's simple. You don't want to do something, you create an excuse not to do it. But when it's too hard or it seems too hard, well, here's a scenario. All you people think you're so spiritual and everything. Realize what you can do in 30 days compared to what you could do in 30 lifetimes. Imagine that. Most people would choose the 30 lifetimes than trying to do it in the 30 days. Pretty pathetic, don't you think? And that's because they have their truth, their ego. Hold on, I need a sip of water. Sorry. So, where are we going? Most people aren't going anywhere. You're stuck here. You're unascended because you didn't ascend, and you're not going to. Oh, you can't tell me what I'm going to do. Prove you know anything about the gods that control each world. Nobody, very few souls can talk about that. Alnek, something like that. She claims she's from Venus. She came here at 7 years old. She's still alive, teaches. She's probably at Mount Everest, Mount Rush, I don't know, one of the mountains somewhere. She's always teaching, but she's old. She almost died and everything else. But she claims that she's took on a body at 7 years old when she came here. But she talks about that. Created a chart and everything that Eckankar actually uses as well. But here's the thing. What you know, and if you don't put it to use, is useless. If you don't defend what you know, it's useless. So I have to walk in my path because it's my truth. If I don't live by my truth, it's a lie. So I'd rather die in my truth than die in a lie. Because when you die, your karma is in front of you. Can't lie about that. Oh, this psychic told me he healed me. He cured me. He took it all away. You kill somebody and he's going to take on that karma? You think he'd want to reincarnate a couple more times because you? I doubt it. and it doesn't go into the river and get flushed away. There's a lot of great techniques that sound good. Oh, just put him in the river and let him wash away. Karma doesn't go away easily, and that's why so many people reincarnate over and over. Now, here's the thing I'll try to explain, make it real simple. If you're reincarnating, which means you're still an incarnated, all right, you come back here. But when you're crossing over, your karma says, oh, well, you got all this to pay off. You can't stay here. You got to come back. Now, you think you have the choice to go where you want to when you come back? Try to catch this if you have any kind of awareness going on inside you. Why would you want to come back? My family? Well, if you're going to come back in a couple years from now, it's not going to be the same family. It's going to be all their children and everything else. But why would you want to come back? You like it in hell? You like suffering? You like pain? You like to see people going through all this stuff? Does that make you happy? Thinking you can change it? Hell's here for a reason. It wasn't a place to go into. It was a place to get out of. People twisted at what Jesus was teaching. And he explained about the next realms and stuff when you go into them, but very few people want to listen or even heard what he said. Now, if you read the other Gospels that came out rather recently over the past 50 years, Mary Magdalene's manuscript, Judas's manuscripts, and Thomas's and all those kind of manuscripts that came out, it's a lot different than what was going on in the Bible. A lot more truth there. Definitely, Thomas traveled to India. He made it out alive. Most of the disciples did not. Mary Magdalene traveled to France and traveled, but she had a daughter. And then the Knights of Templar were formed for her daughter. I mean, she started it, but she didn't live forever. So what I'm trying to say is there's truth there. How do you sift through it? And what's going to help you take your next step? All right? What I would tell you, if you had an out-of-body experience, what did you experience really? What do you think you experienced? Because here's what happens, even in a dream. You go, leave this body, see this stuff, come back into the body. Mind has to translate it. Soul can't talk. Soul's not going to tell you what it did. So mind's going to say, well, you saw this white robe person and he was God, or he was Jesus, he was this or that, he was an Anunnaki, he was a Nordic, he was tall white, whatever you want to call him. And he told me, blah, blah, blah. You can make anything you want, but the mind's going to put images to things that it knows and that it can relate to. It's not going to say this white being of light shined upon your soul and your soul lit up. And sure, it does. But do you see that? Do you perceive that? Mind can't perceive things it doesn't understand. That's why we have to learn the alphabet. We have to learn how to read and write. We have to learn what things are without the knowing it. Now, let's take that even deeper. In the beginning of the first time planet Earth was in peace and in compassion was Atlantis. We didn't have to learn all those words. We didn't have to learn all the things. It was called awareness. Everybody was aware of each other. All right? And that means when you become aware, all right, you that other people do not. Well, and the problem here today, everybody says, well, nobody knows the answers. Nobody knows the answers. Well, then nobody knows the truth. That's what they're saying. Well, if you want the truth, it's there, and you just have to dig for it. But if you're not willing to, you're not going to get it. Thinking you can do the things that you're told to do on this planet, you're not going to get it. Anything in school, not one thing in school helps you to become spiritual. Not one thing in school helps you understand death, birth, reincarnation, life, death in any way. What soul is. It doesn't go into any of that. Why? Well, it's religion. No, you're a soul. It doesn't matter what religion you are. You're still a soul. You're going to die no matter what religion you follow. You're going to reincarnate no matter what religion you say you're in. And the only way you can do that is by experiencing it, learning how to experience that to understand it. So I'm telling you, you need certain experiences to really understand life and death. Without them, you have no clue. If you didn't leave your body, you don't know what soul is outside of the body. Well, you said it. You could see pictures and hear people say it. But anybody could draw a picture. Anybody could create a computer graphics picture. But that's not going to help you experience the experience. I mean, Bob Dylan said when it's one of his songs, I'll let you be in my dream if I can be in yours. Do you want that? You need your own dream. You need your own truth. And it's not a programmed truth that you were fed. Okay, if you're going to talk about God, how can you explain it? What experience did you have that proves that to you? The Bible told me so. No, that's an excuse, a cop out. No matter what your story is. Oh, I was with an alien and he told me. Corey Good, he works with the Blue Race. I work with the Blue Race. I was part of the Blue Race once upon a time. Now, he says they show him videos of what? The present, past, future. He said the world's going to be destroyed or close to it soon. Let's see if that happens. Another person, I can't even, he's from Australia. I can't even say his name. And he claimed that the world was going to be destroyed years ago. He said, we're going to have a major disaster. He talked all these good things, but he said the world's going to be destroyed. Again, he was wrong. People that try to attack the world because they think they're better or superior with knowledge, they don't realize that angels and demons are separate, but both of them can attack you anytime they want. Well, I don't work with demons. How do you know? How do you know you work with an angel? If I come knock on your door with a robe on, and put a halo on my head, and say I'm somebody, you going to believe it? No. So why would you believe a thing that came into your inner consciousness or into your room when the mind's pretty creative in a lot of ways? Every dream you have, were they real? How do you know they weren't? How do you know the difference from an actual experience and a dream? You don't. All these little things. It took me years and years and years and years to learn each one of them and how to work it through. I'm trying to give you a simple technique, and ways to get further down the road than I did in a much faster time, because you don't have much time in this lifetime. Sure, you can come back, but it'd probably be a different world when you come back. I don't think when you get too far without having a war and a disaster and the plague's going to, this virus is multiplying, even though they say it's going away. So I hope I didn't bore you. I don't want to go too much further. I got it out there. I told you what the cure for the virus is if you listened. All right. We need to wake up to what and who we are, to understand what truth really means, to understand what God really is, instead of letting people control and feed you ideas of what it is. What makes anybody on this planet, anybody, think God loves them? These great miracles happen to you every day, all the time. Gold pours out of the sky and fills your living room up. What makes you think God cares about you? Well, every New Age speaker, we could be this, we could be a higher being and higher that. You are exactly what you are. Your ego gets inflated and you think you're better. Just because your job and your money doesn't make you a better person. I worked in a phone company 20 years, and it was the poor people that would give me $1 at least, and that's all they had. I never took it. I always threw it back and stuff, but not while they saw me. But millionaires and people like that, they don't want to give you anything. Well, you're not supposed to take any money, but people always do, and people always try to offer it to you. So, it's time to wake up, people. All right, it's hard for me to do the show and read at the same time. Sorry about that. That's why when I do when I do my show with Tina, she's always reading it when I'm talking. I want to say this. Time's limited. I give my first 2 books away for free. I wrote them a long time ago. I mean, they're not up to par because things change in time. But you'll still get a lot out of it. I give techniques. I'm going to be doing a workshop, people. Anybody interested? It's not like David Wilcox and Danny Brinkley doing a workshop on the rainbow body, which they shouldn't be doing. They have no clue what they're doing and really trying to teach. I mean, they're not a full-fledged Buddha. They didn't go through the training and teaching and everything else. And they don't even know what it means, really. I met with Danny Kaysen, Danny Brinkley. I met with a lot of people, but these people claim a lot of things. So when we talk about who and what we think we are, don't let somebody else tell you who you are, because that's not who you are. That's a program. You know who you are because you look in the mirror. That's who you are. And people don't even like looking in the mirror, so they change it. I'm dealing with what I am now. I'm not trying to change it. I don't plan on staying here forever either. Well, again, we have to search our truth and find it. And it's there. But you have to work for it. And it's not what you think you already know, because it's not. God doesn't come down to this reality ever. When any moron, idiot, fool can say, well, God comes here. God's in my room every night. God come into this horrible vibration? For what reason? You know, you hit a tuning fork, it's a high vibration, put it next to a glass, it shatters it. What do you think God would do if it ever came to this planet by itself? This planet would explode into non-existence. So you have to think in a higher form, not the program idea, we're all spiritual, we're all high beings, we're all one with God. No, you're not. You don't even know one thing about God. You don't even know what it thinks, feels, or anything. And you're one with it? Well, we might be one with Superman, Batman, Green Hornet, and all those kind of characters. Well, I am. I watch the shows. Yeah, and that's about all it means, right? So there's a lot going on, especially with Mr. Trumpo and what he's creating. If he gets in, I just feel sorry for the planet. And if guess what? If the other person gets in, we're in not much better condition, but certain things will be better. And now, I hate Trump. I'm sorry, wrong word. I just do not like him in any way. But he did more things. Not that they were the right things. He did more things than any other president, probably. But he's a dictator. He's a controlling idiot. He thinks he has the right to control people. Nobody has that right. Nobody. And to control all the people in the United States, thinking one person understands them? Without getting a vote on everything, what person has the right to say, well, he's going to have to just wade the whole story about the idea of abortion and not. Nobody has that right except a woman that's pregnant. Nobody. No man does. But that's going back to the old religious ideas and stuff. It's a programmed idea. And people say, well, I'm not religious, but you got a program idea about birth, when's life form? Oh, if you think that, I mean, you know how a person gets pregnant, that stuff that creates the pregnancy is alive. But a girl can have a girl without that. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like a salmon can change sex. I mean, there's weird things that can happen. But the reality is, who has the right? You're your own soul person. You have to live by your truth. How important is your truth? All right. We're just so programmed. And if you listen to these speakers, you're going to believe so much garbage. They're still trying to prove little light ships in the sky are UFOs. Big deal. I saw over 2,000 now, at least. I can go out and film one any night, any morning. I have a light ship blinking at me all the time. So what? Until they land and give us something important, it's useless. And they're not going to be giving us anything useful anytime soon. Or they would have. If they were spiritual at any level, they wouldn't let children being dying, slaughtered, raped, and abused, sold into slavery, and all those things. If they had any kind of morals. Oh, well, no. And if they were a little bit high-tech, they could determine whether a person's a good person, bad person. Now, American Idol, America's Got Talent, had a man on who was in jail for 37 years under false rape charges. And he was let out. And his desire was to go on a show, and he actually got on it. But imagine that, 37 years, and he wasn't guilty. The DNA proved it 37 years later. So you don't think if alien races had any better technology and spiritual awareness first, they wouldn't have gave it to us? If they cared? People, wake up. The truth's everywhere, that everything's a lie. Not that everything's real or important, because it's not. Well, I kept you on for pretty long. Till next time, Tommy Hawksblood here. Hawksblood1, HAWKSBLOOD1 at AOL.com. You're not going to hear it any more accurate, more real than you can from me, and that's not coming from ego. I mean, all the experiences I had in my life. I had 5 death experiences. I stood before an alien. I stood before a Bigfoot. I mean, all that stuff's real. I was next to the little people. Whichever realm you want to go to, I had an experience in it, so I know it's real. But what does it play in this reality, and how is it going to help the human race, and how is it going to help us as a people? Seriously. With that, I'm glad you just came in. Everybody in the chat room, thanks for coming in. Please send this link to everybody you can or know. Tell them to listen to it. They want to debate me. I'm open for debate to anybody that's out there mainstream that thinks they have a truth or a wisdom that goes beyond anything else. Please, I'd love to debate them. Because this is hell. It doesn't get worse. It can only get better. And worse meaning you're going to keep coming back to it until you get out of it. There's a good show on TV called Lucifer. Check it out. You can still watch it on Netflix. It's not exactly like that, but it's a good idea to think about it, how they portrayed hell and how people accepted the idea and all that. The Pope himself said hell doesn't exist now. The head of Christianity, the Catholic religion, says hell doesn't exist. Said Adam and Eve was a fake story. Said the 10 Commandments, he's trying to rewrite 2 of them. So where's he going? Who does he think he is? So please, people, you follow a religion, good luck with that. When you're on your dying bed, tell me what it gives you, what it offers you, what's going to happen now, what you know is going to happen, and what you're going to do when you get there. Please, tell me any of that. Love to hear it. Till next time, all you UFO people, why don't you get on a ship and stay wherever they take you? All the people convincing people that everything's not real, like ghosts and spirits. I didn't get into that. I wanted to, but they're as real as anything else. And they're taking over more people than aliens are. Watch it. I told you there's about 20 shows on weekly about ghosts and spirits, what they're doing. Check it out. Families completely broken up. The children and parents are seeing it. The houses are being almost burnt down. Almost everything happens in the house is crazy. All right. Well, I can only give you places to look to see what's going on, really. Exorcisms, I might have a friend on real soon. Jeffrey Seelman, he's one of the top exorcists in the United States, good friend. And what he's doing and what's happening. People don't want to believe that it's all real. Believe lies and say they're real, but take the truth, shove it down in the toilet bowl. Till next time, tune in, tell your friends. I'll be doing another show next Tuesday and another one, I don't know, maybe over the weekend. See how it goes. I'm doing a really important show for somebody this weekend. I don't have the link for it yet. I don't know if she's going to be able to give me the link before the show or not. But peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life, hope you get it. Till next time.